Hi, this is Richard Hunter, or rather the voice of Richard Hunter. And what you're looking at now is a Joyo American Sound pedal, which we're going to demo for harmonica in a minute or two. A Shure SM58 microphone, which is what we're going to use to get the sound from the harmonica into the Joyo. And in the background, a PV-KB2 amplifier, which is the kind of clean keyboard or public address type amplifier that you want to use to take the signal from the Joyo and make it loud. Now the Joyo is designed to emulate a range of Fender guitar amps, which are, for many harmonica players, the preferred kind of amp to make their harmonicas loud and proud. So the Joyo has a set of controls on it that are pretty familiar to anyone who's ever looked at a Fender amp. But there's some new stuff as well. So for example, we see along the top of this box, we see low, medium, and treble, which are, or rather low, medium, and high, which are bass, mid-range, and treble EQ controls respectively. On the lower left, we see a level control, which corresponds roughly to the volume control on an amplifier. It sets the overall level for the device. We see something interesting, a voice control, which essentially controls the level of mid-range frequencies in the mix in an interesting way. As you turn it up, it tends to imply bigger and bigger amplifiers, more and more tubes in the signal path. And finally, we have the drive control on the lower right, which is very much the kind of thing that's represented by a gain control on many amplifiers, including some Fender amplifiers. It adds distortion into the signal. So let's give this thing a try. What we have now is a setup where the bass is boosted to around 2 o'clock on the dial. Mid-range is set to about 1 o'clock, meaning that it's somewhat pushed up in the mix as well. And treble is far above 0 also. So we have a lot of EQ going into this signal. We've got a pretty high amp level. We've got the voice set about halfway up for a reasonably thick sound, and we've got the drive at about 11 o'clock. And this is what it sounds like. Not bad. I'd suggest that this sound could benefit from a little less treble. Now let's see what that sounds like. Nice sound. Very hairy. Let's try something a little different. Let's scoop the low frequencies to give us a sound that has both more bass and more treble, but less mid-range. We'll turn this down as well, and maybe turn down the drive and turn up the level. Here's what this sounds like. Well, it's a little bit less loud, as you would expect. It's certainly more cutting, and it would go over in styles where you need a little bit more treble cut in the harmonica. Let's try something else. Let's take down the treble a whole bunch. Let's turn up the mid-range. Let's bring up the drive, cut back the level, and bring that up. I'd call that a pretty powerful sound. By the way, I'm using a Seidel 1847A harp. Harmonica players like A harps. It seemed like a good one to use for this. Hope you enjoyed that. Bye-bye.